Today we'll be looking at rivers, especially the features of the river and the youthful stage. We will be focusing in on the River Lee and its youthful stage, which starts in the Shehy Mountains in Gougon and runs all the way to near Macroom town. Before we get started, I'd like you to pause the video and write down anything you know about rivers. Here in the steep Shehy Mountains is where the River Lee starts. The beginning point of a river is called the source. The source starts on a high mountainous area 700 meters above sea level. Here on top of the mountains is an area called the watershed, which separates two drainage basins. This is an imaginary line which outlines the area drained by the river. This is an aerial view of the River Lee outlining the watershed and the drainage basin. The course is the route of the river, and tributaries are streams or a river joining the main river. Here in Gougon you can see small tributaries up on top of the mountain which join to the River Lee below. The confluence is the name of the area where two streams, rivers, or tributaries merge. The mouth is the end point of a river, where the river enters a lake or the sea. In this case, in the River Lee, the river is meeting the sea. At the river's mouth, where it is tidal, this is called the estuary. Now it's time for a fun fact. A few miles down from Gougon, we see this Clapper Bridge, which is the longest of its kind in Ireland. It is known locally as the Stepping Stones, and it was built hundreds of years ago. The locals still use it to this day to walk to school or to cross over into the village of Ballingeary, situated in the Gaeltacht of Musgrave. Just a few miles down the river, in the lake of Luckalua, lays a little tree right bang in the middle of the lake. This tree is remnants of a community which settled here in 800 AD in the Bronze Age. This is what it would have looked like, and it acted as a safe haven for valuables. Today we've used the river for things like fishing, water sports such as kayaking, boating, swimming. Or further down the river, you can see a dam which creates hydroelectric power. I want you to pause the video and name the three features of the youthful stage. The youthful stage has a narrow floor and steep sides. The river here is steep and rapid. First, we have V-shaped valleys, which happen due to weathering and the force of the river attacking the valley sides. The rocks which have fallen into the river help the process of abrasion, and this leads to further erosion. The river transports the rocks downstream and the channel becomes wider and deeper, creating a V-shaped valley between interlocking spurs. Interlocking spurs are a type of river erosional landform that is formed with V-shaped valleys. The river cuts down into the valley. If there are areas of hard rock which are harder to erode, the river will bend around it, and this creates interlocking spurs. This is seen here in Gougon Barra. We walked to the top of the Shehy Mountains to show you the waterfalls, which is a common feature found on the steep slopes of the youthful stage. Before we start, I want you to write down all the key words you remember that are associated with the formation of a waterfall. A waterfall is formed when the river flows over hard, more resistant rock and weaker, less resistant rock. It erodes the weaker rock quicker, creating a plunge pool. Eventually, the overhang will collapse and it is pulled down by gravity. The waterfall will retreat back upstream, creating a gorge. The key words associated with a waterfall are the undercutting, the overhang, the plunge pool, waterfall retreating back upstream, creating a gorge like this one seen here. Unfortunately, on this day, the waterfall was not visible due to the lack of rainfall. Today, you learned about the features of a Youthful river and the parts of a river. To complete this interactive video, I want you to complete the 3, 2, 1 activity, where you write down 3 things you have learned, 2 questions you still have, and 1 thing you enjoyed.